Well, hey, Cincinnati, welcome to another episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. I don't know if you heard, but Major League Soccer made some big changes or voted to make some big changes this year. And we are going to talk all about that tonight, along with playoff match round 2 with Inter Miami coming to town this weekend. Welcome to the show. My name is Brian, here with Jason, Justin, and Jose. Like, I feel left out. Like, I'm the only name that doesn't start with J tonight. So glad to have you guys here tonight. Justin, I'm going to start with you, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I didn't realize, for those who couldn't see because we had the video countdown playing, like your favorite song is that countdown song. By the way, you were like moving there.
Gets me fired up every time. No, I was trying to mess with Brian, get Brian out of his mojo, try to play a little let's say S-baggery there, like Wilfred Nancy was describing. No red cards though tonight. Good job, Brian.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason. Man, welcome back to the show.
It's good to be back. It's been a couple weeks. Excited to give some hot takes tonight.
I'm looking forward to those hot takes because we got a lot to talk about. Like, there's some things that are pretty controversial. I feel like as far as Major League Soccer fans go, the schedule, the regions, we're going to talk about all of that. And Jose, I know Jose's going to have some hot takes, man. How are you doing tonight?
Oh yeah, I'm doing great. I mean, it's like I said, a lot to cover today. Obviously the league announcement of the schedule, and the bad guys are coming to town here soon with the goat and the biter, so it'll be a fun show.
Oh man, yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Thanks for joining us. If you have comments, if you have questions as we go tonight, best and worst, we're going to start off with here in just a moment. Drop those in the comments. We'll be sure to do our best to answer the questions and get to all the questions you have for us tonight, including the poll that Rupesh put up about who do you start next to Buka. So if you voted in that, we'll get to that later in the show. Be sure to stick around for that. But we do want to thank Apollo Home. If you have any concerns about your HVAC system, or if you have questions about how the cold may affect your exposed water lines, give Apollo a call, send them a text, or schedule a visit at apollohome.com. Guys, let's get into our best and worst. Jose, I want to start with you tonight.
Okay, well, the best, even though I confess I did not watch the game, I saw highlights and read about it. The USMNT is starting to look consistent, and that's good because there's no competitive games other than these friendlies, and they're starting to look good. So to me, that was the best, that they seem to be clicking finally. I will say, as a Mexican, I will have honorable mention to the Mexico's U17 team, which eliminated Argentina in the U17 World Cup being held in Qatar. There is a huge hate relationship between the two countries soccer-wise. So I was, yes, okay, this is good. We don't get to do it ever at the senior level, by the way. They always hand us our heads, but at least at the juvenile level, we've beaten these guys several times. Worst, having to hear from some of the fan base all the things that could possibly go wrong with this new alignment, this new schedule. And it's logical. I mean, change is always hard, so I get it. But, some of the things I think that's way out of line. And I will say that one of the worst is the honorable mention to the scuffle at the end of the U.S.-Paraguay friendly, quote unquote. That was uncalled for on both sides.
Yeah.
Get ready, Jose. There's going to be a lot of those bad takes coming your way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, they will. There will be.
Justin, since you spoke up, man, let's go to yours. Best and worst.
My best is easy, man. I got a chance. It was my birthday weekend. I got a chance to go out and watch Xavier play Dayton live at Cochran Field. That was amazing. Crowd was nuts. I didn't realize that Cochran Field had such a small stands. The stands are probably like only 300, 400 people, and there was well over 2,000 or 3,000 people there. So it was like it's all one hill, and people just bring their blankets and sit out on the hill and watch the game. So I was vibing with it. It was awesome.
Nice.
And they got to advance to the NCAA tournament second round for only the second time in program history. So that's awesome. They're already making records. I think they got their 5th conference championship in program history earlier, and now they're going out to Colorado. If they can win that, they'll set the high water mark for the program. So really impressed with Xavier's women's team. I'm going to go with the second best. This one's more of a chagrin here, but the USMNT won. So my timeline was very clean this weekend of listening to what we need to do to fix the team versus why is there not enough Europeans playing in this, or listening to everybody's obnoxious, irrational thought camps the entire week. I'm free of that. So keep winning, USMNT.
Yeah, for all sorts of reasons. Keep winning. Keep winning. Oh man. Yeah, that's a good one there. Jason.
Yeah, I'll second the Xavier win. If you ever get it, as a former women's soccer sports information director from Xavier, that's really exciting. If you ever get the chance, I try to find it on one of the socials, but there's like, this has to be like 12 years old or something at this point, but there was a Xavier men's soccer game and the student section got so hyped during a goal. This might've been when Hagelin was playing there, that they actually like pushed the fence down and fell off the stands and onto the pitch. It was really funny.
Hopefully everybody was okay.
Yeah. Surprisingly, nobody got hurt.
Awesome.
My best is that we actually have something to talk about during this international break that we have. My worst, though, is that we even have this international break in the first place, which the new schedule will take care of. No more momentum killing international breaks in the middle of playoffs. So that's my best and worst.
Yeah, love it. We have a couple in the chat. One best Nancy to Celtic, worst winter games in the future, with 5 little kids who don't like cold, and school nights are a no-go. So there is that, which we'll talk about later on as we go. Rupesh says his best is FCC having an option year for Evan Loro based on all the goalies being let go around MLS. That was pretty surprising today. Some of the news that came out of the keepers that were being let go from their teams. And then worst, he says he's challenging Jose. Why is a scuffle your worst when you like guys that stir the pot? We'll say we won't throw that up on the screen. So kind of surprised by that one.
It's good. Well, I mean, I think I said worst because it's a friendly, and the Paraguay guy was to blame. But then, just back off, let him, do his stuff, and the ref will take care of it. That's why I put it as the worst. But
think back with me. I may be wrong, but was the U.S.-Mexico game when Wes McKinney got his jersey ripped off? Was that a friendly or was that in competition?
It was competition. I believe it was
probably competition because usually friendlies between the two teams. Yeah, they're intense, but in official tournaments they're getting downright nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, they play so many tournaments. They even play friendlies against Mexico anymore. There's like 15 different types.
Well, at least in Mexico, I can tell you, there's no such thing as a friendly against the U.S. Even the event. Now, this is not a friendly, guys.
That's fair.
This is war.
That's fair. So I'll round it out. My best and worst this week. Best is, I'll just say, the ever expanding world of professional soccer in the U.S. Like, we can argue, we can debate MLS, USL, what's happening in USL. Like, I've been more dialed into that because of our Fort Wayne team up here, and learning what's going on and how that's growing. I just love the fact that there's more people talking about soccer and more opportunities for people to play soccer, regardless of what happens between the two leagues. I think things will change down the road. But man, it's been a lot of fun. People up here that I just, never heard talk about soccer before. They see a stadium going up and they're like, oh, I can't wait to go to that stadium and watch a game. So I know we had that in Cincinnati years ago when TQL was built. And I'm just excited about that. That's my best of the week. Saw a lot of that, heard a lot of that this week up here. My worst, maybe my best, is Nancy's comments in the last couple of weeks about, who really won the game. Like, we scored 5 goals. They scored 3 goals. Who really won? And I'm like, you lost the first one 1-0. So you didn't score anything. And then the comments I just saw, I don't know when he made these, if it was the same press conference, I just saw him pop up tonight, actually, as I was driving home to get ready for the show. And he was talking about in that second match. Did you guys see this? But he was like, when you're up 3-0, just take your players. You've already lost the game. Take your players off. If you're going to leave them on, we're going to try and get them red cards and get them out of the game for the next one. And I thought, man, like,
that's pretty low.
Not that I've never thought that. Not that we've never wanted to try and do that in a game when a player has a yellow, but to openly, freely say that in the media just is like, I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way. But
he never is shy about voicing his opinion. I remember in 2023, he about sent Columbus on fire when it was the postseason comments he made about the supporter shield is better than the MLS Cup.
Yeah.
But yes, even Nancy agrees with us.
Is that why Rossi is such a jerk there, or was he that way before Nancy got there? No, because I mean, seriously, Rossi was getting on my nerves at that game, that last game. I actually yelled at him, guys, because from my seat, players can hear me, and I said, "No wonder you don't play in Uruguay anymore." I said it in Spanish.
my opinion, and you know how I feel about women's versus men's leagues and the difference between how players act on the field. But if the referees are going to call it, people are going to keep flopping. So I put that back on the referees. Stop calling those.
No question.
I know it's a difficult bang situations and stuff like that, but when you have VAR and stuff like that and you can see clear deliberate dives, I think those should be reviewable offenses, in my opinion, when somebody's clearly diving on the pitch.
Well, maybe Nancy will take Rossi with him to Glasgow. And
maybe
he won't last over there, not in Scotland.
Well, I think we're giving Columbus a little too much airtime tonight because you know what? They're no longer in the playoffs. And we're moving on. So we are going to move on from this conversation, stop talking about Columbus. Let's talk about some of these proposed or some of the changes that were voted on this last year at the MLS owners meetings. We have, as you know, if you've been watching the news, we're a little late to be reporting this. So we're just going to share some of our responses and reactions because you've probably been all over social media sharing your thoughts. And we thought we'd share ours tonight and invite you into that conversation with us. So the changes that were voted on is a new schedule for Major League Soccer that's going to be a fall-spring schedule. It would start late July, early August, running through November, taking December, January off, picking up in February with the second half of the season that runs until February to April with playoffs in May. We've got a graphic up on the screen if you are following along and watching with us live tonight. So we've got the schedule August to November, December, January off for winter break, February to April, and then MLS Cup playoffs in May, which will be interesting. And we're going to share our thoughts and commentary on this here in just a moment. There would be a single table instead of Eastern-Western Conference. Those conferences would dissolve. There would be a single table with 5 divisions of 6 teams, right? 6 teams. And then, so, you know, there's conversation around how these divisions will be parsed out. And we got another graphic that we got from Kickback MLS that we'll talk about that as well here in a few minutes, because this is one option. This is stuff that's not been settled. It's not been set. There's a lot of speculation on what it could be. And so we're going to get into that here in just a moment as well. Every team would play every other team then every year. So you would get those 28
games from playing every other team once.
And then you would play 24 because if it's really 5 divisions of 6 teams, then you get 10 games intra-division. Right. Then you got to make up the other 24, which happens to be the balance of the number of teams right now.
Yeah, correct. So 24 games outside of division and then 10 division games, home and away games in your region, right? And then a playoff format that they're talking about making some tweaks to what that would look like and who would play who and how that would play out, which is really interesting going to that from a single table, also having playoffs at the end of the season. So guys, let's just jump into that conversation and debrief, like, how is this going to work? What's this going to look like? What does this mean for fans of the game in Cincinnati and maybe even fans in farther northern regions that are going to be playing games later into the season? Jose, I'll let you kick us off, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've talked a lot about what are the pros, what are the cons, and we could talk hours about this, but to me, and this is a personal point of view, having watched soccer in multiple countries and lived in another one, I think syncing the calendars with FIFA and European makes a lot of sense from a transfer windows perspective. I mean, it gets us away from, oh my God, now we got to lose these players in the middle of the season, which can happen again, by the way, with a winter transfer. But now everybody is suffering it, everybody around the world. So I think that makes sense. This winter break of 6 or 7, however many weeks, I think is also good. It gives players a chance to recover. If you've got injuries, okay, now you've got 6 weeks in the middle of the season where you can recover and get ready for the balance of the season. CONCACAF Champions Cup participation, for anybody that cares, and I care about that one, I think would be more competitive for MLS teams because now you're in the middle of the season. Whereas right now, we start competing against Liga MX and other leagues in CONCACAF when they're in full swing of their season. And it's a disadvantage to MLS teams. So now it's going to be more on par. And it has a potential, I think, of capturing more fans in the fall and spring. That's speculation on my part, but I think there's some potential there. And again, less disruption due to international windows. So there are all these cons. There's all these pros, I mean. You want me to get into the cons, or do you want?
Anybody want to respond to anything he's shared so far? Like, I think there's a lot we can dive into on just that schedule, that change.
I think Jose's point about CONCACAF is really good because when an MLS team is in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, you don't even have your full roster set. You're still making your preseason moves.
Yep.
And by lining up with the international calendar, you're bringing in players at the normal time that other clubs around the world, with a few exceptions. I know Brazil plays kind of the same as MLS and some other leagues do. But, you imagine if, say, Heung-min Son was brought in at the beginning of a season rather than mid-season. Imagine Brandon Vasquez, for instance. Not that I want us to get rid of players, but that was a situation where FC Cincinnati had to turn down offers to sell the dude mid-season because, no U.S. men's national team stands on Twitter say they weren't going to tank the rest of the season in a Supporters Shield run because this guy was, helping the team win a championship. So I think that's a point that a lot of people kind of are glossing over is the CONCACAF Champions Cup and the lining up just in roster build alone is really going to go a long way to helping out MLS.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll throw another name in the hat. I mean, you have Barreal. Barreal has been at odds with FC Cincinnati since that decision was made, right? We're going to the winter window with that, and by the winter window, his attractiveness had dropped from when it was in the summer. So had we been on that calendar, it probably would have been a better mutual situation, and maybe, who knows, this could have already been at the Brenner stage with Barreal. But no, I agree. I think the gamble is that MLS teams can hit home runs in these transfer windows, and we'll see, right? I mean, if you're going to be the league that's going to compete internationally and try to, you're never, in my opinion, MLS still will be decades away from drawing the ire of European fans, right? I mean, they'll tune in, they'll check out. Even when it was during the summer window, I don't think people were dropping a cool $100 US to watch MLS games over the summer, right? So, and I think that's one of the changes too. But I think, at least on the scheduling, I was super opposed to it. I think one of my biggest complaints of it is the winter break. I don't like it. I think it's going to suck to have 2 weeks or 2 months off in the middle of the season. That's another. I know we have weeks here and there, and it's frustrating right now, but to have that much of a lull in a period where you don't want it to be, it kind of sucks. But we'll see.
If you think about it, if you think about it this way, though, like,
you can focus on watching the Bengals in the winter.
will be
Depends on the
fantastic.
year if you want to do that.
Right? No, but we do have the break now. It's not in the middle of the season, obviously, but we have what MLS Cup playoff is. Our championship is December 1st, correct? And
December
we don't
6th this year.
December 6th this year. So we start CONCACAF Champions Cup February. MLS starts at the end of. So we have 2 months off as it is now. It's end of season. I get it. It's not mid-season, but we still have that break without soccer. I'm excited. The fact that they come in right after the winter break to games that really matter. Like you're not trying to figure out your roster. You're not trying to figure that's all happening in July and August, right? When other teams, by the way, college teams, other leagues are getting started. So there's already this hype around the beginning of the season in August as MLS gets started. And then we've got a fresh start to a new season that's already halfway through. And the games matter then right away. And so I'm excited, not that they don't now, but I'm excited for what that is going to be like and what that's going to feel like, because I think it's going to be different. Now, the question comes is, how is this going to impact attendance, right? For fans, there's a lot of casual soccer fans or friends of people who are soccer fans that are like, yeah, I'll go to the game with you. It's a nice summer night. Is that going to happen in December, beginning of December? Is that going to happen right away in February? I don't know. I think that's the thing that I'm most concerned about is attendance at some of these matches, especially in the more northern climates.
I understand that 100%. And Rupesh has a good comment about Minnesota in the chat as well. I think for sure teams like Toronto, Minnesota, New England, they're going to suffer a little bit. But I think for the most part, people are overblowing the weather aspect of it, in my opinion. If your team is a good team, which we kind of expect FC Cincinnati to be a good team here on out, Minnesota's a pretty good team. You're already kind of used to playing deeper into the year.
Yep.
We're used to starting in February now because of CONCACAF. So the only thing for at least us that's going to change is 2 weeks in December. In Minnesota and Toronto, you would expect they probably won't schedule home games in December. They probably won't schedule home games in February unless they're going to play at Rogers Center or at the US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis or something. Then for them, that kind of stinks because that could be 8 weeks or so without a home match. That's really going to stink. But at the same time, at least in 99% of the country, a Saturday in February is probably the nicest time of year to be outside. Or not February, September. It's probably the nicest time of year to be outside. I think we're only really trading the parts of the year that you need to make sure you wear moisture wicking underwear because it's so sweaty for a few weeks where you might have to wear thermal underwear because it's a little cold. I'm not too worried about it personally. And
who doesn't suffer for attendance is the NFL, who plays through December and January. A different game, different league. It's apples to oranges. I get that. But to me, it shows if you love the game, you're not afraid of the weather to get out there. So, I think that's a good point, Jason. I do think maybe not the home games. That will stink every year if you don't get to have those home games in those times. But maybe that changes. The U.S. men's national team played a game, I believe, in Minnesota at -4 degrees a couple years ago. I'm not advocating for that, but it's
that
been
was in
done
March.
before.
That was in March. That was in the normal schedule that MLS currently plays. So that happens no matter what.
Yeah. Justin, I think you were about to say something. I cut you off.
Yeah, I think it hurts the opposite way. I think the attendance numbers drop, and like you said, the casual fans. It's not that the casual fans will be scared of the cold. It's that a lot of casual fans, and I know a lot of people that are casual fans, right? Not having those summer games sucks. Really sucks because there's not a whole lot to do I mean, there's a lot to do in most of these cities, right? It's not like these are remote, desolated places, but it's like to be able to enjoy the energy of TQL Stadium on a summer night, a June night. I know people, it's hot, whatever. The games are always at 7:30. It's like, if you're super tailgated, I can see where you're sweating it out real hardcore, but I think that's what's going to suck the most for a lot of people. My wife was pretty bummed out to hear the news because those summer months are usually the best. Kids are out of school. Those are later nights that the kids can stay out, and to not be able to enjoy that is kind of a bummer. There's still months within that window, sure, but that's a big chunk of the season.
I have a question though. I have a point to that. I because I've seen this argument online, like the kids, won't someone think of the children? We play on Saturday. Is it illegal? I don't have kids.
Midweek.
Is it illegal to take your children to a game on Saturday in October?
We do Wednesdays.
We occasionally do Wednesdays, like 85%
we do quite a bit
of the game.
Now that we do Leagues Cup and CONCACAF.
Let's circle back to that. Put a pin in Leagues Cup, but like we play 85% of our games on Saturday. And I've seen this argument like, oh no, my children, who will think of the children? It's a Saturday. Like, is there a law that I'm missing as a dual income, no children with that you can't take your kids out on a Saturday evening in October or May?
Maybe not.
Am I missing something here?
You just gotta go below. You gotta go down into the Bible Belt. That may be a law.
Maybe on Wednesdays, but I'm out of state. Obviously, I don't make it down for a ton of games every year. I've made it to quite a few this year, but the Wednesday night games don't always get the same attendance as the Saturday games anyway. True. Right? Mm-hmm. Summer may be a little different, but they still suffer a little bit. I was just going to say, like, maybe, and I may be speaking out of turn here because I haven't been there in a long, long time. But could the Reds benefit from this? Not having games in competition on Saturdays, that people could go to another game with their family, hang out, and fill the stadium that right now is not, from my understanding, doesn't get very full on a summer Sunday night or summer Saturday night.
Well, they suck. So there you go.
There's that. And they're making zero moves to improve themselves.
No, but
go ahead.
You were talking about USL earlier. Do you think like teams like Forward Madison could survive a schedule change like that? Do you think the fans for Forward Madison would show up to their games in the dead of cold and
they play football in Green Bay that's way north of Madison in negative temperatures? I think
I get it, but the people that are showing up to the soccer matches, forgive me, I'm completely off base with this.
I mean, people are going to find reasons because again, change is hard. If you're used to a certain way of doing things, even if it's attending soccer games, you change it. And if you're just the least little uncomfortable, you're going to find a reason why you don't think it's a good idea. I mean, I saw it in Liga MX. It was called something different back then. It was just one big table, the team at the top, one at the end, and then they went to these short tournaments called Apertura, Clausura.
Please don't do that.
It was like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? And now it's like, oh yeah, no big deal. Yeah, okay, let's just
okay. Explain like trying to explain the Clausura and the Apertura to anybody when you're talking about like who qualifies for CONCACAF Champions Cup. That's It's like, but the
fans got used to it, so I think eventually they will.
I'm sure,
but it is natural. It is natural for people.
I just come from the standpoint that I could be completely off, but I still believe we have a majority of MLS fans are still in that infancy, right? Very much enjoying the product, but not die hard where they're going to make a away day trip or show up in sub-zero temperatures. Okay,
but we're not.
And I'm not saying that's going to increase. I'm not saying that's going to increase, but you're going to lose a lot of people that committed themselves to summer months, in particular.
You might.
And this fits right into my fandom, and they're going to walk away because it no longer fits their fandom.
but we're also not considering we have our perspective being here at this in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Fort Wayne, Indiana, where we do have 4 seasons. Raise your hand though if you have been to Orlando or any city in Texas in July.
Yeah.
Because I have.
Yeah.
It is not pleasant. I mean,
No,
I firmly
right on.
believe that both Florida and Texas are mistakes just to begin with. Texas should never have been taken from Mexico. They should have been allowed to keep it. But we currently, as we play, like we have to have hydration breaks consistently, even in games in like Chicago in June. I mean, now I don't know about y'all, but like I'd much rather be outdoors in September, October, November here isn't that bad, and March and April than in July. I mean, that part of the year is awful.
Let's be honest. Our winters have not been terrible recently. So that's number
rainy.
one. Number two, like we've got to factor in international play too. Like we always, we gripe and complain and we're frustrated when our best players are gone on international duty for games that matter here in MLS. And now that's not going to be as much of an issue because they won't be borrowed from MLS teams in the middle of summer to play in these international tournaments with the team. So there is that. There still will be soccer. It will not be our local teams, but there will still be soccer, and we will not be losing our best players to these international breaks in the middle of summer at this point. So that has to factor in at some level to it factors into the schedule, but it has to factor into like as we look at games that matter, that we are going to have our players for those games that matter all season,
barring any injuries and their international call-ups.
Well, and that's what we're doing right now is like hoping and praying Miles and Ender don't get hurt this week.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that happens anyway.
Yeah. And so again, if playoffs are in May, right? Yeah. That we're not going to have this international break that we've got teams in the playoffs. We're losing 5 of our players to international play who may 5 players or 4 players may come back injured for the rest of the playoffs. That doesn't make any sense to me either.
Yep.
And of the biggest, the biggest reason MLS is doing this is because their media product, the most important games are the playoffs. And last year you had MLS Cup go up against the SEC football championship and the Big Ten football championship. And it got absolutely destroyed in the ratings. And it was a New York team versus an LA team, and it still got destroyed. Now they're moving it to May and June, where you might be at like the conference semifinals for the Stanley Cup or the NBA. And those are 7-game series and take forever anyway. So like,
yeah, they do.
You're really taking away like the competition with American football as it currently sits.
Yeah, Rupesh sent us this graphic just now of the MLS calendar switch. If you're watching live, you can see it. The blue line is the current MLS schedule, and the red line is the new schedule. So a dip in the summer, and you can see the extension from November to mid-December. But the beginning of the season, that August time frame or so, it's really small. I can't read it. Is only just about a week or two like there's not a whole lot of difference there. So that again, this is what we're talking about. We missed the summer and we extend it. So just wanted to throw that up there just to see the difference in what that looks like. So
and there are European teams that do take breaks because I mean Russia, Scandinavian countries, so they take pretty long breaks because you're not going to play in whatever minus 40-degree weather and 2 feet of snow. And they make it work, and even though Sweden is not going to qualify for the World Cup this year, I think Norway is. So even with their break, they have competitive teams there that can still go to the World Cup, participate in Euro Cup, participate in the Champions League. So this is workable. I mean, it's going to take some adjusting, not just from the fans, but from the teams themselves. But it's very workable, and we've already talked about all the advantages of going in this manner.
Yeah.
I think the real reason is they saw the way Miami performed in the Club World Cup, and they said, "Nah, we gotta change this. We gotta fix this. We gotta get Messi lifting the trophy."
Yeah. No, we could beat this dead horse. Like, we could just keep going on the schedule. I want to move on, but John Dench does have a comment. He thinks that MLS is doing this so that we buy a bunch of MLS winter gear, and maybe there's something to that, man. I could use a nice FCC winter coat.
John's in it, man.
Well, who was it? Andrew Abbott that pulled the sword at the last game had on a sweet FC Cincinnati coat. Like, I need that. It looked so good. I need that.
Pretty sweet stuff. And we'll get that opportunity now. Whole new line of Major League Soccer FC Cincinnati clothing for maybe your long underwear, your thermal underwear you talked about, Jason. You could get the FCC printed on the butt or something there for you. I want to move on to the single table as we get into this. Before we do that, though, I want to thank our sponsor, Beyond Exercise. Is a local physical therapy and fitness business that helps people stay active and injury-free. They've helped some of our local MLS Next Pro, and FCC Academy players with their health and performance needs. Check out their suite of services at gobeyondexercise.com. Apologize. Thanks, Justin, for that little nudge and that reminder. Our show is just rolling tonight, man. I didn't know it was that late. But I do want to get into the single table and the playoff debate here a little bit. Maybe it's not a debate, but conversation. This one kind of confuses me a little bit, that if we're going away from divisions or conferences, Eastern, Western Conference, to a single table, the only reason I think you go to a single table, it seems, is to have an end of the season winner. Like, we have a supporter shield. We already have a single table at some level. We look at Eastern Western Conference, and we look at the supporter shield, but the Eastern Western Conference helps us determine playoffs. Like, I get that. Yeah. We're going to have 5 divisions. I get that too, but the single table, just like, why are we even doing that? Why don't we just have division standings instead of the single table? Like, is this as big a move as people are making it out to be? I guess is my question.
I was confused in the beginning, and I even asked a question. Like, well, maybe I'm having a senior moment, but why do we need a single table if we're going to have these divisions? And we kicked it around a little bit in our chat. And as I thought about it, well, maybe, and again, this is speculation to everybody listening. This is pure speculation on my part. Maybe what they would do is, once the season ends, you use the table to determine seeds for the playoffs. Because, I mean, right now you have the situation on the NFL that I believe they fixed, where you had a division winner with, I'm just going to say, 8-8, just for kicks, right? And they hosted a team that won 12 or 13 games, who was a wild card, which made no sense to me. So I think if they do it that way, then the table makes sense. Also, if the table could be also for determining who goes to the CCC, as an example. So if they do it that way, then it makes sense. But if not, then, like you want to say, well, then what's the point? You had the divisions, just, instead of having 2 conferences, now you have 5 divisions, and, everything continues like you've done it before. That's, again, pure speculation on my part.
Yeah, the CCC, just a point of clarification, the CCC currently uses the supporter shield table to determine who gets in. Where it flips on that is whoever wins the opposite conference championship is an automatic qualifier from the MLS Cup winner. So just a point of clarification.
All right.
I think the things I've read say that you would take the divisional winners and they would make the playoffs, kind of regardless of the schedule. Because, Jose, you're absolutely right. You're going to get a situation where it's one division is just utterly garbage. And one division is so much better than everybody else. You take so that would be the top teams. You have 5, and then you can seed it out the rest. So whether they wanted to do, how many make it now? 18 teams total, something like that. Yeah, you can seed it out based on your standings. I think for me, the thing that I like the best, besides our potential division that we would be in, I like the fact that this gives a little bit more credence to the supporter shield, because as it stands now, Philly, they won the Supporters Shield. Did they have to play LAFC this year?
Right.
And when
No.
we won the Supporters Shield, we didn't have to play several of the pretty good Western Conference teams.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So now you don't have that excuse. You're going to have to play everybody at least
point.
one time.
Yeah, and I guess I hadn't looked at it that way yet. With the single table, you do have to play everybody, and you've got to run through everybody. So that's a great point there, Jason, that you brought up there. And I wonder too, do we see? I know they're tossing around format for the playoffs, what that's going to look like, because it'll change as it seems to every couple years anyway. But I wonder if you have 5 divisions, each division winner gets an automatic playoff bid. You determine the seeding based on the table, as we talked about. Do you see them cutting from 18 teams to 12, or do you see them knocking down the number? So Rupesh has a question: how do 5 divisions? How do you get 5 divisions into one tournament? You take the top 5 winners. Can you take the next 5 in the table and play a 10-team postseason?
I don't think you need to. I think you could do a straight table run, and because of how the interdivision teams work, like you're playing 10 games, right? So those 10 games are exclusive to you.
Mhm.
And you in your division, right? Those aren't 10 games that other teams get. So I think by nature of that, you are going to see teams qualify. It depends on where you cut it off, right? If you're having only an 8-team playoff, which they're not,
They're not.
you would have that problem. But if you go 18 teams or 16 teams, you're going to have those teams in by nature of the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
They're going to go through their division. The champion of their division is going to have enough wins, cachet, to qualify on through the playoffs. They wouldn't.
And you
need
could
the
maybe
automatic
seed on total points, like do something like that. Like your divisional winners will. But I mean, but then that may not be fair if, like, let's say the Western Division's really good with like the 2 LA teams and whoever they're paired with.
Yeah.
and they beat up on each other.
I could see a way like the CONCACAF Champions Cup, right? That's 5 automatic qualifiers, and that's 5 automatic bids to the second round.
Yeah.
So you could do something similar in that vein, right? Supporters Shield gets some kind of extra credence there, and then the 4 other teams get a hosting rights in the first round or something like that.
So
kind of like what it was before this, playing game.
So I'm just looking at the table right now. Current MLS end of season standings, right? Supporters Shield, 1 table, and you go down to number 18, right? New York Red Bulls, 12 wins on the season. So to your point, Justin, I think I think usually that will be the case. Your division winner advances, but let's say you win 8 games out of the 10 in your division, and you lose the majority of all the others because the other conferences are so much better, right? Or you draw or whatever. Like if your conference really is, or your division really is, as
not in Don Garber's league, okay? Parity is everything.
You end up with, let's say, 9 wins, 11 wins on the season. You may not make that playoff threshold,
maybe
right?
Not. Yeah.
And
so maybe there are guarantees toward a divisional champion. But I don't see it being something.
If you have a 9-win team because they won their division won their region or their division in the playoffs, that is not going to be fun to watch. But I get that you earned your spot because you won your division.
But that happens in the NFL.
It does.
You guys would you guys advocate for buys like we do in the NFL and other leagues? Because right now it really is ridiculous that Philadelphia has to play the 3 and Miami. Like, I get that. I get what they're complaining. It is what it is. But I mean, I personally would like some kind of a buy system. I don't know what it would look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a terrible job rewarding the team. I was looking ahead to this weekend's matchups, having San Diego play with the off game. What is it? The Sunday night game or something like that. It's like, well, what kind of reward is that? Like, they won the Western Conference and they're 2 days at a disadvantage over LAFC or Vancouver.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about divisions. We threw a graphic up a little earlier. I'm going to throw back up here. This is speculation again from Kickback MLS, speculation on conference play. And so there would be 5 conferences or 5 divisions, not conferences, 5 divisions with 6 teams each. And it looks like there's a Northeast, there's a Southwest, Midwest, and then there's a Southern that stretches from like Dallas to San Diego to LA, and then a middle of the country to Northwest, according to this one. So you get Sporting KC all the way up to Vancouver on this graphic. So we've seen a couple other ones dividing divisions up a little bit. As you guys look at this graphic or other ones that you see, what makes the most sense to you? Is it a regional division? It seems to be the case. As you guys look at this, what do you make of it?
I think Kickback makes this graphic here, and for those of you who, maybe are on audio listening later, you got the Northeast with Toronto, Montreal, both New York teams, New England and Philadelphia. You got Southeast, DC, Charlotte, Nashville, 2 Florida teams. Southwest would be the 2 LA teams, San Diego, and then the 3 Texas teams. Northwest are the Cascadia teams, San Jose, RSL, and Colorado. And this is the part, guys, that I've been wanting for years because I wanted a Central Conference. In this graphic, it's us, Columbus, Chicago, St. Louis, SKC, and Minnesota. That I love that. That is a tasty little Central Conference. And just as a matter of tradition, Cincinnati teams should always play Chicago and St. Louis teams whenever humanly possible. I love this breakdown. It's hard to put the Western teams together because Salt Lake's in the middle of nowhere, but at least in the East, that they did a good job breaking these down.
Yeah, I think so too. It keeps it, except for the West and the South, even the Southwest region from Dallas to LA. That's a bit of a stretch of the country. But I do like that, like you said, that Central Division, the regional play is a little bit tighter. You get a little bit more, maybe some of these games are going to become and feel more rivalry-ish. Not as much as Hell is Real with Columbus in our distance, but maybe Chicago gets to be more of a rival. We talk about Nashville. Are they a rival? Or are they not a rival, right? Depends on which city you live in. But they're not, according to this graphic. And we might get St. Louis. We'll get Chicago. And then Sporting KC it's a distance, but man, there could be much more rivalry in these matches, I think, with this kind of divisional play.
Yeah, exactly.
Jose, any thoughts on your end about the division, the breakdown, good, bad?
Well, again, even if it is speculative, if you look at it, it just makes sense. Yes, the South is tough to bundle because where do you put the Texas teams versus, the Southern California teams? But the good news in those cases is that those cities are hubs for airlines. So from a fan perspective, and if you really want to go follow your team, it's a lot easier. Whereas we know here in Cincinnati, if you need to fly somewhere, you got to stop somewhere because it's not easy. So I think there's some positives from a fan perspective. The distance is still the distance. I mean, flying from Houston to San Diego is still, no matter what you do, is still going to be a stretch, but it just is the same. It's the best logical grouping that I can think of. And I ran these, by the way, through several AIs. I'm an IT guy. So I said, okay, let's see what AI says. At some point, I came up with something really stupid, by the way. I said, we're going to put Sacramento. No, there's no Sacramento. No. What are you doing here? But after I adjusted that, it pretty much came up with these same geographical distributions. So it's not that I am a worshiper of AI. I'm not, but I use the tools at my disposal, and it just seems to align what the general thinking is right now. And like you said, I think the rivalries there with Minnesota, with Kansas City, and Chicago could be very exciting for a long time to come. Now, all bets are off as they start adding other teams, right? Nevada, Sacramento, who knows where else. But for now, in the current state, I think this makes the most sense.
Hey, we're moving to winter schedule, so we got to add Phoenix. That's the only way to be able to do outdoor.
Phoenix, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. There was some news. We're going to move on because we've got a game coming up this weekend. And there's other news we want to at least acknowledge with the Apple TV deal, with MLS season pass going away, Major League Soccer going to be played and shown and broadcast just on Apple TV if you have the subscription. We'll talk more about that maybe in the coming weeks. We do want to get to the Inter Miami game in the last few minutes of the show. We talked a little bit last week. How does Cincinnati adjust from playing Columbus to playing Miami, coming to town? Do they play a higher line? Do they sit back a little bit more? We've got Suarez is back this week, I believe. Yeah, he was suspended the one match. Yep. I believe he's back. Questions about Miazga. Is he going to be back, or are they going to wait another game? He's certainly not full health, I don't think, full go this week. But the fan poll I do want to get to, and then I'm going to get your guys' thoughts on how Cincinnati lines up in this match. So we posted on X, who would you start next to Buka? Results are in, and it looks like 53% say you start Guidi. He got you there. Stick with him. Roll with him. Obi gets 46%. So it's pretty split. And there was like 0.6 or 0.7% other. Like these are just rounded numbers, obviously. But it looks like it's pretty split. But with people leaning towards Samuel Guidi starting next to Buka. Agree with that? Is that who you'd roll with in this match? Knowing how Obi has played against Messi in the last several times.
Well, I mean, my thought, and I'm sure there will be disagreement, and that's great. That's why we love this show. We can disagree. My thinking is you put Obi in if he is fit, and that's the big if. Is he physically and match fit? Mm-hmm. Put him in there to slow down this attack because it is a devastating attack. I mean, let's not fool ourselves. They scored 82 goals or something like that in the regular season. Yep. Put him there to slow him down and wear the old guys down. Wear them down, Yes, I'm going to say this. Hit them. Be physical with them. And then in the second half, you bring in Guidi to give you more offensive power. I could see it working both ways too, by the way. But my preference is you put in Obi, assuming that he is fit, to just stop, wear him down, and then hit him hard in the second half. But again, that's my opinion. I'd like to hear what my fellow co-hosts have to say about that.
No, I totally agree. I think that Obi would be, in my opinion, the best option for kind of disrupting the way they want to play. It depends on who they're going to have paired up in the midfield. Like, are they going to have Yannick Bright play up in that weird, kind of role? But I think Obi's a disruptor, and I think that's what you need in this matchup. I forget who said it. Somebody recently that was, I guess, given a microphone to ask about Messi. You don't beat Messi, right? He's the greatest player of all time. What you do is you try to take away the avenues that go to Messi, right? And FC Cincinnati has been fantastic at doing that, right? I think the game that we really exposed them was, what's that?
At home, they've been really good at that.
Yes. But against Miami, they've been good. Miami hasn't scored against us this year.
Yeah.
It was a 0-0 tie down in Miami and a 3-0 win at TQL Stadium.
Yeah, we went and eliminated them in 2023. That was pretty fantastic down.
Bear in mind, the one thing that worries me about this team is that we have a good game. So they got their act together. And then there's a down. Sometimes it's just a bit of a down. Sometimes it's massive down the next game. So I'm just hoping that
impossible. I think it's impossible for any footballer around the world to play Messi and not be up for the match, right? Now that may work counterintuitively, right? You maybe be playing completely out of character. But I don't think that we're going to see that playing with food as we coined it last time.
I think so. I think we may be split on this one, 2-2. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Jason may be in favor of ride with who got you there. Is that true?
Yeah, 100%. I think Guidi offers you more in the offense. I think he's faster than Obi. Sure, he may not be as defensively sound, but one of the things we match up really well with Miami. I'm not going into this game super overly confident, but I like the matchup. I like Guidi to get up and down the field and get stuck in the offensive scheme. Because if if there's one thing Miami does against us, it's give up goals. And I'm trying to look at our history with them.
Yeah,
we've scored on them quite a bit.
I think it's
in the past
14-4. I think it's 14-4 in the past 5-6 meetings. Yeah.
So we're more than capable of getting in there and scoring, fingers crossed. And I like that a little bit more than Obi's defensive prowess. And the thing is too, I like Obi off the bench to see out a game.
Yeah.
He was so crucial against Columbus. If you can,
no question. Yeah.
Yeah. If that's an option, I say stick with what worked, get Ender and Geedy in the starting lineup and run with that.
Jason, I'm going to lean your direction on this one too. I think normally I might say go with Obi because of the matches he's played and the ways he's disrupted the ball getting to Messi.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he's not played a full 90 yet since his injury. He's come in off the bench, hasn't gone maybe 60 minutes, maybe. I can't remember if he's even played that long. So I'm not sure if he's the same Obi yet. I haven't seen that, if he's the same Obi as he was earlier this season and last season. Geedy certainly has made some mistakes. He's a young player. But I think against Miami, our best games have been when we've been on the front foot, when we're attacking that back line. And I do like that Geedy gives us a little bit more momentum, a little bit more opportunity to progress the ball through the midfield with Pavel Buka. We've seen Buka get higher up the field in the last several games. And when he's up there, progressing the ball and he's in an advanced position to play it off to Denke or to Brenner or, Evander's up there too, right? Cincinnati has a way of putting pressure on Miami's back line that keeps them off the front foot, keeps Messi out of the attacking third because he has to drop in at some level to get the ball, or he's just roaming and hoping for a long ball, which he can handle. So I like the fact I would go with Geedy to start, get Cincinnati on the front foot, bring Obi in to see out the game, because at the end of the game is when Messi, if they're down, Messi's going to come through clutch, right? He's always going to, and they're going to give him every opportunity to be that clutch goal scorer at the end of a match. You bring in Obi to disrupt the ball getting to him at the end of the match when he wants to score, when they need to score, and Obi's going to lock him down.
Which is a mistake. Yeah, which is a mistake we made. I think it was in League's Cup that we were leading 2-0, and towards the end, Messi magic happened.
Yep, that's right.
That's right. Open Cup. Don't remind me.
I'm sorry. Open Cup. Okay, whatever. That one. I was at that game. And I was
Messi assist to Leo Campana.
Yeah. I was screaming when they let him alone. Don't do it. Yeah.
I'm just excited to see Brenner go at this back line. Like I want to see a run out, because we saw what Luca Orishano and Kubo were able to do to this back line. I'm ready to see the Brenner magic. Get the ball to him in space. Get it out there quick.
Oh, by the way, have the yellow cards reset now? Because Brenner's got a yellow card for taking off his shirt.
Yes,
reset?
I believe so. Okay. There is a reset period. That's a good question, Jose. I'd have to go back and look for sure.
Okay, I'm just curious.
But it was only in the 3 matches, and then I think there is one for this and the next one, and that's where you get a little dicey.
I think if you already had 2 yellows or you had a red or whatever, you are out this match, I believe. But if you only have 1, it resets. You're down to 0 at this point, I believe is the rule, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. This one's going to be fun, guys. I'm looking forward to this match coming up at TQL Stadium. There's going to be fireworks one way or the other. It's going to be a tight game, or Cincinnati's going to blow them out of the water like they did was it last year, 6-1 at TQL?
Yeah. Remember, they did not have 4 starters.
They did not have Messi.
Suarez, Alba, and one of their other starters.
That's true. The team is different, but I will say, I said it then, I'll say it now. Messi was not
we didn't have
goal difference in that game. What's that?
We didn't have Matt Miazga, Lucho Acosta. We didn't have all those players either.
That's true. We didn't have Ender streaking down the right side.
He just whipped their butt.
Yeah. No, this is going to be a fun match to watch, to be at. Are any of you guys going to be able to be there?
Oh, yeah.
Of course. I'm there.
Yeah. Awesome.
I will not know.
Enjoy it for me. cheer loud for me. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, I don't have a coworker offering me club seats this time, so sorry, bro.
I know
I thought about selling my ticket and have a finance part of it, but to say,
we did have a listener last week that said they would be out of town and offered tickets to not for free, but offered tickets to CST, which was fantastic. So we do have someone from our team that's going to be attending because of that. So thank you for that. And if anybody else has tickets that they would just want to like offer up to CST, that'd be great. But no, we're not going to beg for that. I do want to get into our final thoughts. We're here at the top of the hour, 10:01. I want to get into our final thoughts. And Justin, let's start with you.
I want to circle back to NCAA. Sorry. You have 3 teams in our region still in the women's NCAA tournament and 3 teams in the men's NCAA tournament. So by all means, go out, check some of those out. I know the women's teams, I think they're all on the road, unfortunately. You have Ohio State going to Notre Dame. You have Louisville going to God knows where. It's a lower seeded team, but and then you have Xavier is going to travel out to Colorado. But you do have Indiana, Kentucky, and the men's side that could be potentially matching up in the second round in Bloomington. So if you've never been to Bloomington, you want to know where Pat Noonan and Roman Celentano, got their boots dirty. Go check it out.
Yeah. Yep. Good one there. We've got some college NCAA teams here locally in Fort Wayne that are going on. So it's a fun time to be watching soccer at that level. Yeah. Good call. Jose?
Well, two thoughts. We've beat the schedule to death, but my final thought on the schedule is I think this is a good thing for the league, for the players, and for the fans eventually. If we are to be one of the important leagues in the world, then this was an important move. We'll see how the experiment, we'll see how the change, I'm not even going to see how the change works, but I'm convinced it is a step in the right direction to making MLS a relevant league in the world. And then in terms of Miami, we have to take it to them. I mean, we cannot sit back like we did with Columbus even in the third game where we just absorbed pressure and eventually we got our footing. We can't do that. We got to take it to them from the start, be aggressive like we have before, and good things will happen if we do that.
Yep. Very good. Jose, good to have you on the show tonight. Justin, you as well.
Pleasure.
Jason, final thoughts?
I know we talked a little bit about Miles getting his hands dirty on national team duty a little bit, but I do want to give a big shout out to Ender Echenike getting some national team duty as well this week and getting a really nice assist for his national team. And it was a classic Ender assist, streaking down the line, cutting it back from the end line. Hopefully he brings that kind of energy to Miami on Sunday and we get a few Ender assists. That would be great. So good luck. Good job to him and to all the national team players. Please come back healthy. Come back healthy, please.
One more game, right? They have one more game to play before. Yeah. When is that one? I didn't look at the schedule.
Tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Against Uruguay, I think.
Okay, so we've got some travel involved.
Yeah,
we got potential for injury. Let's hope for the best with these guys coming back to, again, big game at TQL Stadium this weekend. My final thought, I debated even like sharing this because it had nothing to do with our show tonight, but I've seen 2 instances in 2 different leagues in the last, 3 days where a difference-making call was made on the field that there was no video review at a high level of soccer, right? And NCAA match, I'm watching this penalty shootout at the end of the game, right? Kicks from the spot. I was corrected by a referee. Kicks from the spot at the end of the game. They're playing on a college football field. And so what college football fields have are hash marks in the middle of the field. And the ball supposedly was placed on the football hash mark, not the penalty spot. The goal was scored, and there's no video review to look at it and say, was it or was it not? It was a deciding factor in the game. I don't know if you guys watched this or not. I was intrigued because of the Fort Wayne Football Club playing in USL 1. Their championship match was last night. There was a call, a penalty called that was half a yard outside the box. It was given immediately as a penalty, no review. It ended up being a non-factor. It was a second goal in a 2-0 game. But at the same time, like games at this level, VAR should be, I think, part of it if you have the opportunity to do it. Now, as we know, against Columbus, VAR doesn't always get it right, but there's a higher chance of making it possible, especially in games that matter at the end of a season. So that's my final thought. It has nothing to do with FC Cincinnati, but it has everything to do with soccer at a high level and getting calls right to get the right outcome in the game. Thanks for joining us tonight on this edition of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. If you like what we do and would like to support us, visit us at cincinnati-soccertalk.com/support. You can join us on Patreon. All of our content is pushed to Patreon, and you get some additional stuff over there as well. We'd love to have you over there. We'd love to see you, and we'd love to see you at the game. And hopefully next week we're talking about Cincinnati moving on to the round 3, the Eastern Conference semifinals, Eastern Conference finals.
Final. Mm-hmm.
So look forward to that one, and we'll talk to you next Monday night. Thanks for joining us.